Hello everybody, thank you so much for clicking on this video. This will be my spoiler review for the Batman. There's so many things to talk about this movie. I'm so excited for it. Now, I'll say that for me this is the best Batman movie today. I mean, it is just the perfect Batman movie because it's incredible comics accurate, but also very unique. They take some very big elements from different comics, but they also make this Batman feel unique from the rest of the Batman that we have so far, and very grounded, even more grounded than the Christopher Nolan's Batman. So I really appreciate that. And I mean, everything about this movie is excellent for me. So I want to start with the best Batman moments. And I really love the intro, the beginning of the movie. You know, the monologue from Batman's perspective, and him telling you about the city and the criminals and what they feel about him. And that's right from Batman Year One comics. And you know, Batman is not the type of character that likes to talk very much. So what better way to put the audience in Batman's mind in that perspective? And it really works a lot. It was excellent for the movie and from the story. Now, I also love that Batman weaponized the shadows. You know that right at the beginning of the movie, different types of criminals were all afraid of the shadows because you didn't know exactly if Batman was behind that shadow, but that fear, even from the guy who was painting with the canister, and then he looked at them while canister was empty, and he said, "No, I'm not doing this," and he took off. And then when the other criminals were attacking the person in the subway, they that time Batman was in the shadow. So, but there always has that fear in it, and that was Batman created with the shadows. And I think that was brilliant. And the way that he comes out of the shadows, very slow walk and very heavy with the suit and everything, it's perfect. Now, I also love those expressions on Batman's face, and especially his eyes. Something about his eyes that you can really relate to the character, and that's from Batman 1. It just really works here better than any other Batman movies, so I really love that. Also, I love the Batman and Bruce Wayne at the club, and when Batman went to the club, the Iceberg Lounge, and then Bruce Wayne to get different uh, reaction to different characters. Batman, instead of going to talk to the Penguin, and when Bruce Wayne came, he went to talk to Carmine Falcone, and that was brilliantly done. And you can see it getting resolved using his Bruce Wayne persona, because Bruce Wayne is really the mask and Batman is who he really is. Now, I also love Dr. Rav. I really liked the specific moment that he realized that he did something wrong in terms of one of the riddler's thoughts, that he says that I'm vengeance. and that's exactly what Batman was saying to the criminals. So he that really took him hard on him because he basically inspired that to them. Also because of the Riddler used his method to gather these people and basically form like a type of cult following, and that was. Now I want to talk about the Bat Tech. Now I really love this because the technology, the Batman technology, feels it was modern, very modern, but also has like a 1940 vintage noir, sci-fi noir feel to it. So I really love that because it's not easy just to create a new world, but also the technology in that world and how it functions and how it looks. And I think it was brilliantly done. I like how modern it was with the lenses, so he can record everything, especially the crime scenes. It's just very smart. Now, next up, I want to talk about the Batmobile. I mean, that introduction of the Batmobile was awesome, and I mean, it's just you can feel the power of the car and the engine, and I just love the look of it. And it's a very muscle car, and the way it was introduced, and Penguin saw it, you can see his face of he was scary of it, and it's just an excellent Batmobile. I mean, it's hard to take down the Turkey from the Christopher Nolan's Batmobile. That was excellent. But also, that was basically a tank, and this more is more like a car. But I mean, that chase scene between Batman and the Penguin was something really special here in terms of how it was filmed and everything. But I think the Batmobile, I love this new Batmobile. And I think we're going to get upgrades throughout the upcoming movies where they make them. Now, I also love the Batman's mistake that he did a mistake here, and that is where he was in the room of the Riddler's apartment, and he grabs the letter from the cage where was a bat in the cage, and he get the feeling that the Riddler knows that he's Bruce Wayne. So you can see that he is not really helping a lot of the policemen and the detectives to figure out the clues like in the other scenes, because he's already a step ahead of the police, and so he doesn't want to expose his identity. And that it was clever because then he go to talk to the Riddler, but by then it was basically too late because they already uh, the bombs were planted around the Gotham harbor, and by the time the Batman returned to them, he could have discovered, because of that moment of not exposing himself, he didn't discover that early, and that's basically what his mistake was. By the time he get back to it, when there were no policemen at the apartment, it was too late. So I think that was really brilliantly done. Now let's talk about the Riddler. Paul Dano, awesome. Now I really relate of what the Riddler was saying in the interrogation room because of the orphanage and how he grew up, and 30 other kids were there, and one of them every winter die, and it was really something to relate to. And I understand the where Willis was coming from, and I also love his whole speech. I think he was very strong, and I love that he created this type of following, and he used those people, the the politicians and of that didn't care for, of low status, and they become following of him. Now I also love Gotham City here, because Gotham City in this movie is has so many details, and has the attention to details like in a video game. I mean, the city, it really feels like Gotham City. The elevated train, I really love that, and the different corners and the coffee where Willis was in, and it was basically always raining and very dirty in the street. So, and you can feel like this corruption in this city robbing. So I really appreciate that. This is the best Gotham City that we ever have. Now I also love the flaw was very interesting, especially for a first Batman movie. The so really with the Bonds flaw, the whole basically Gotham City, and that's exactly from Scott Snyder Batman Zero Year comic. So I really appreciate that. Now I also love the arena scene, because the arena scene, it it was that moment that you needed a Batman, because those the real stuff was over on the top, and they were basically killing everyone below. So it was very hard to get to them without spotting you. So that's the real moment that you need a Batman. And the action sequences there, I really appreciate that. And the way that Batman needs to use his adrenaline to help Catwoman, I mean, it was just excellent. Now let's talk about the reviews. Now, the Joker, yes. Now, I really love Barry Keoghan as an actor. I think he's a extraordinary performance, and I'm curious to see what direction they go with the Joker, because you by the little bits that we get of him, he doesn't have the green hair. His face is disfigured, but I think this is a more grander version of the character. But I really like the interaction, the exchange that he have with the Riddler, and the jokes that he have. So I think by that little scene, I'm really looking forward to seeing more of it. But I really like that. It was quite a surprising thing to have in the movie. Now let's talk about Martha Arkham. Now, so Martha was a clinical insane. She was an Arkham, and I think I think that they didn't well execute that, because we did basically that whole thing was dialogue, and we didn't get any flashback, and we didn't get to know really Martha. We knew more about Thomas Wayne than Martha. So and she's Lady Arkham in the comics, and in Batman Earth 1, that's very important elements to the Martha story. So I will have It would be better if they have shown flashback with Martha Wayne. Now, also, who once got Arkham Asylum now is a Jeremiah Arkham, who is related to Bruce Wayne, or is it Hugo Strange? And also, the Wayne coupling. It says it had the insignia of Wayne, but if you turn it upside down, these became two A's, and that is a two A's for Arkham Asylum. So I love those clever Easter eggs that they put there. But I think the Martha Arkham, that big review could have done better. One of the tricks. Now, Cameron Falcone, I really like John Turturro here because he has this really calm presence on screen as Cameron Falcone, but when he was talking, you can see he's a threat and a guy that you don't want to cross with. So I really appreciate that. And also, I knew about the twist because of the comments that yes, Cameron Falcone is the father of Catwoman, but still not a lot of people read comments. So, and I thought that was very well executed. Now, what I don't like is that we basically know who killed the Waynes, and I didn't like that change. I prefer when it's a mystery that you don't know who really kills the Waynes, and that's what motivates Batman even more because he doesn't really know who he is, and he could have been a mob, a crime bar, Maroni or Falcone, or maybe a street top, but you don't know. That's the interesting thing about it. But here, I mean, I didn't like that chain here. So now let's talk about Peter Sarsgaard. Now he was great, and he doesn't have a lot of screen time, but he was very good, especially at the club as he was playing the DA, and also portraying the Gotham correction and how he was even where the riddler has a stripe with a bomb. He didn't want to review it because basically he could have survived, but then someone will go after him. And I think that whole scene in the show where Batman tries to help him, it was very well written and very well acted, thanks to Peter Sarsgaard and also Robert Pattinson. Now let's talk about Alfred. Now Alfred is exactly the Alfred from Batman 1, and the hospital scene, it was very touching, but we didn't get a lot of Alfred here, so there were not a lot of things to do with the character, especially in this movie. Now, Catwoman. I think Zoe Kravitz looks and moves like Catwoman, and I really like her connection to her friend Anika. And I think the scene there where she was cracking the safe, fantastic thing. Now, also when the Bat and the Cat, when they first meet at the club, I think that was brilliant. And when Batman realized her boots in the photographs, excellent. And I really love the sequences in when they both go undercover in the club, 44 down below. That was excellent. And I really like by the end of the movie the little bit of romance, the spark that they have a little. Now let's talk about Gordon. Gordon was perfect. Jeffrey Wright was perfect casting for this, and I love Batman and Gordon relationship. And the part that he said no guns, and G. Gordon said that's your thing. And I also love the GCPD sequences. It really worked great. Now let's talk about Penguin. Oh, Colin Farrell as the Penguin, he's so funny, amazing performance. And I really like those sequences there were when he was talking to Batman at the club. There he realized the mayor in the photograph, and the way that he says to Batman, "Oh, is that the mayor?" And he really elevates the temperature, the Batman temper. It was brilliantly well delivered, that line, and I love it. And when he was interrogated by Batman and Gordon, and saying, "You called yourself detectives? Even I figured that out. You're stupid." It was something like that, but it was just so funny and well. And that is, this character was a bigger than life character. It was more realistic and more grounded Penguin version, and I love it. Well, so that is my spoiler review for the Batman. I really love this movie. I can't wait for a sequel. So thank you so much for watching, and also consider subscribe to the channel, like this video, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.